Welcome, comrades, to the program. Comrades in FEMA District 1. This is all about cars. My name is Ralph Medeiros. I own and operate Ralph's Auto Center in the north end of New Bedford on Church Street, 867 Church Street, directly across from New Bedford Vocational's faculty and service entrance. Right beside, let me just say it's just down from Regal House, Webb Plumbing and Heating, now Dollar General, and Ralph's Auto Center. If you're coming off exit 5 off of Route 140, you would head down just over a half mile, and we're on the right-hand side, right beside Dollar General. That just opened up, and they're doing quite well. So we're very easy to get to, and we service and sell all makes and brands of automobiles. We were a new car dealer for many years, but now we're independent, and we're in the marketplace. So, and you can reach us here at 9960500, and we can talk about whatever's on your mind. I'm going to play one more tune as I get settled up here, and I'll be right back. Here we go. See if you recognize the voice.
You work, you save, you worry, so what you can take your dough when you go, go, go. So keep repeating it's the berries, the strongest oak must fall. But my bitty, wabba-bida, no, wow. Life is just a bowl of cherries, so live and laugh at it all.
Life is just a bowl of cherries, don't make it serious, life's too mysterious. You work, you save, you worry so, but you can't take your dough when you go. So keep repeating, it's the berries, for the strongest oak must fall. While sweet things in life to you were just loans, so how can you lose what you've never owned? Life is just a bowl of cherries, so live and laugh at 'em all.
Life is just a bowl of cherries, don't be so serious, life's too mysterious. You work, you save, and you worry so, but you can't take that good dough when you go. Keep on repeating it's the berries, and the strongest oak must fall. The sweet things in life to you were just loans, so how you gonna lose what you've never owned? Life is just a bowl of cherries, so live and laugh at it all.
Life is just a bowl of cherries, don't make it serious, life's too mysterious. You work, you save, you worry so, but you can't take your dough where you go. So keep on repeating, honey, everything's a berry, the strongest oak must fall. The sweet things in life to you are just loans, so how can you lose what you've never owned? Life is just a bowl of cherries, so live and laugh at it all, just so you're happy. Live, smile, laugh at it all.
Okay. I don't know if anyone recognizes that voice there, and that's an early Bing Crosby recording. Life is just a bowl of cherries. And I guess that's a good attitude to have towards it. I mean, some people have such negative views that sometimes it's just sour grapes. We have a caller here. A very good afternoon to you, caller.
Ralphie.
Billy.
Yep.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing all right. You?
Good. Doing
So
better than I deserve.
What's new?
Well, we've been working very hard, staying busy as it is. We're still running a little short-handed, so we're going to be busy because of that. Plus, we're busy because we're busy. Customers are coming in, we're doing service and selling cars and making friends.
Good.
So, and preparing, dare I say it, for the fall.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and you can feel a little bit of it in the air today. It's nice and cool and dry. It's a gorgeous day, actually.
Yeah, it is. Beautiful.
Gorgeous day. This is, and it is still summer, so we have to be appreciative for the warm weather we've been having. This seems to be a quite a good override for our summer weather. So I'm not complaining, Bill. Although I have to say the day before yesterday was rather warm. I don't mind the heat, though. I'm not complaining.
I hate the humidity.
Yeah.
It kills me.
Yeah, I hate the humidity too when it's snowing out.
The humidity.
Yeah. So
what else is going on? Nothing?
Well, we've been getting cars ready. We brought a few different cars in. We're just trying to get them serviced out and cleaned up, and getting cars people are looking for, and getting a lot of fuel-efficient cars in for folks to go back to school, go back to work, because people's schedules change in the fall. And we've been patching some people's cars up. These young kids going back to school, the parents want their cars in good shape, so they're safe when they go back to college. Some are going back to work. They're out of school. And, there's all kinds of situations, Bill. It's everybody has a different thing going on, So,
yeah.
So that's what it comes to. I hear you, one of your little puppies there barking.
Yeah.
So they're probably cooped up, want to get out.
They're not. They just come in to go out. They'll go out again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We brought a few cars, and we brought a nice another PT. We've been for some reason PTs running hot and cold, but they've been hot now. It's funny how life goes. It's sometimes they can sit for months, and boom, they take off, and they have a spurt of them go out, and people want them, and then it goes quiet, and then it comes back. So you just don't know how to figure certain lines. But we just brought in an '07 PT Cruiser with 78,000 miles, rather low, and it's priced at only $59.99. So it's a good buy for somebody looking for a nice little PT with very low mileage for the year.
Mm-hmm.
Got it we got a Ford coming in, F-150 04. It's an FX 4 Super Cab, 4x4. It's got the flare side bed on it, and it's only got just over around 100,000 miles on it. For an 04, it's quite low. We're getting that cleaned up and ready. That truck's going to be under 13, probably around 12.5, I guess, when it's all serviced out. Trucks are expensive. New trucks are quite expensive, so the used ones kind of go up as the new ones rise in price, too. I should say the used ones hold their value.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's happening in the truck market. Plus, fuel prices are down now considerably, so to drive these trucks aren't, they're not as expensive as they used to be. When it was $4 a gallon, it was that's double the price to fill your tank virtually. So it's a big difference now. But we've got a great little Honda CR-V, 03 CR-V with 50. Let's see, it's got for 53,000 miles. That's a great little car, priced at under $9,000. Got a Nissan Altima we brought in, a 2000 Nissan Altima GLE. It's got a roof on it. It's only got about 90,000 miles on a 2000. It's quite low. And that car's priced at less than $5,000. I think it's around $4,500. A good buy for somebody. It's a good buy. It's an inexpensive car with low mileage, and it's loaded up. So we've been bringing, got a Honda Element we're getting ready, an all-wheel drive Honda Element. You ever seen one of those, Bill?
No.
Yeah, they're kind of like a van, almost like a box van. They're extremely roomy inside, and the seats fold up. They fold up against the side of the walls inside the vehicle.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's different, very roomy.
Mm-hmm.
You could move a village in it.
Oh boy. Yeah.
And this one's all-wheel drive automatic, and it's good on gas. It's got a 2.4 liter engine.
Mm-hmm.
It's very respectable on fuel, and that's priced at just under $9,000. And they're a little hard to find, actually, especially in all-wheel drive, in good shape. Got a great little Golf, Volkswagen Golf with a 2-liter diesel. You should try driving that car, Billy. It's an automatic. I think you'd be quite impressed with it.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's quite loaded up. This is a 2011 now, okay? So it's fairly new, and it's priced at just under 14. Just under 14. Got a brand new 2008 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo, and they're hard to find. These in good shape. They're not rusty, because this one's a mint condition 2008 Laredo, and it's got 76,000 miles, priced at just under $6,000. That's a good buy for somebody who wants a Jeep that's, well, it's a collector's Jeep now. A lot of these Jeeps are
what year Jeep you said?
It's a 98, but like brand new. When you see it, you'll be impressed.
$6,000? Wow.
Yeah. When you see it, though, it's 76,000 miles, no rust, clean as a whistle.
Uh-huh.
4x4, nice interior, 6-cylinder, the straight engine, the cast iron head and block, straight 6.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a powerful, torquey engine, and
That's not the square one, is it?
No. This is the first generation of the Grand Cherokees that came out originally in '93. This is the last year. Let me think. This is the last year of that body style, and they were popular. But now, unfortunately, it's hard to find one in good shape with low mileage. They're rare. They really are rare, and they're worth. They hold their value tremendously. And if it was the V8, they made a version called. They made a limited edition of this vehicle in '98 with a 5.9 Chrysler, which is a 360 Chrysler engine. You know, the V8 that they built, and they built and was the most powerful SUV in the world in that year. So it was an animal on the road back then. And those, when you go to buy one of those in good shape, clean with a right clock, they bring absolutely crazy money. You have to really...
I don't think they'll hang around long then a lot.
No.
You know?
Yeah.
When someone sees it, you know?
Yeah. Well, anybody knows the marketplace.
Not paying a big price and not paying big taxes.
No.
I don't think they'll stay long in that lot.
No, somebody who knows vehicles will know that. They're not cheap because you have to pay for nice stuff, but people who know the market know that these vehicles are hard to find, and they just, there's plenty of rats out there with, 180,000, 200,000 miles, all rotted out, not been maintained or serviced. They've just driven the life out of these vehicles. But when you find a vehicle that's been maintained and the life, it's still got plenty of life, that's what you're paying for. I mean, there's plenty of cars to buy out there.
Oh, yes, there is.
A lot of them are rough. They don't, people don't maintain them. When they come into the dealers, they'll make them look good, and they just do minimum what it needs to get a sticker and out the door. But they don't really bring them back, So, because it costs a lot of dough. And the more they put in it, is the less they take out of it. So, that's their thinking. But that's a nice Jeep for somebody who wants to buy a nice 4x4 6-cylinder. Great winter car for sharp money. So if you have you want to put away your Jaguar or your Ferrari for the winter, this is a good cheap. Just a good cheap winter car to drive around until spring comes.
Yeah, right.
So got a great '03 Honda Accord that came in. We got two of them, I guess. Huh. I didn't know about the second one, but I know I'm looking at a list here and I'm saying, where did this car come from? It's an '03 Honda Accord LX, silver, that came in with about 84,000 miles, I think. So it's low for that year in '03, priced at $8,500, and it's a 4-cylinder. I thought we had a white one too, but... And I got a great '01 Cherokee. Now there's another collector's Jeep, Sport, 2-wheel drive, and it's 82,000 miles. A solid. Somebody doesn't need 4-wheel drive, but wants a real heavy-duty wagon, because that's like the old.
That's the one you get.
That's like the old timers used to buy, because most Jeeps in the 50s and 60s were not 4-wheel drive.
No, they weren't. No, 2-wheel drive.
They were 2-wheel, and most people bought Jeeps were working blue-collar people, pretty much, and tradespeople, who knew they were well-constructed vehicles, and these people were tradespeople. They were masons, plumbers, carpenters, machinists, and they liked the way the Jeeps were built. And the old-timers would buy them. This makes a great tow vehicle if you have a pop-up camper or a small tow-along camper. Great little vehicle because it's good on gas. You're not hauling that extra 4x4 weight around, so the engine power can go to tow the vehicle. Plus, they're great in the summer with a couple of bags of sand behind the rear wheels. You got a tank.
Same thing with pickups. What you're doing, 2-wheel drive pickup.
Yep.
Put some blocks over the wheels with some sandbags, and
You go.
Right.
Yeah, my brother David does that. He won't buy a 4x4. He says it isn't worth the ride and extra gas, and he doesn't go up to Maine and Vermont like he used to, so it doesn't matter. So it's that's the way.
He's getting old, isn't he?
Yeah, he's getting up there.
Yeah, God. Well, Ralphie.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
In 1949, Studebaker.
Wow, 49.
Come out with a special car. It was high off the ground. Do you remember what the name of that was?
Wow, Studebaker. That's not my strong suit, Billy. Let's see. I know they had the Hawks.
Yeah.
And they had Studebaker Hawk, and they had... I just had the other one in my mind. It just went away.
But this was just
Huh?
1-year job.
A 1-year job.
Yeah. Nice looking car.
High off the ground?
Yeah, high off the ground.
Huh.
Hmm?
They looked like it was going front. Both. When you look at the back and you look at the front, they both look like front ends, like the 54.
Nice looking vehicle.
Yeah.
It is, yes.
4-door or 2-door?
It don't matter, 4 or 2-door.
They built it both ways?
Yeah.
Huh. It wasn't a Hawk.
No, it's, let me put it this way. Today there's one company that makes this same vehicle more like off-the-road job, it's called.
Really?
Yeah, in the newer models.
But that vehicle you're talking about...
British makes one with that same name. They make their vehicle. Not the same vehicle, but they make one with the same name.
Who's this you said that does?
The British.
Oh, the British.
Mm-hmm.
The British.
It's a tough one today.
The British don't make many of them. I mean, they got the Land Rovers. They got the Defender.
You just named it.
Yeah, Defender?
No, this
Land Rover?
Land Rover.
Really?
Yeah.
So was it an off-wheel vehicle?
No, I'm sorry. It's called the Land Cruiser.
Oh, Land Cruiser.
Yeah. It was made in 1949.
Maybe Matt can look that up. He's looking at some. Actually, they're military vehicles that Matt's looking at.
No,
Right?
this is a 1949 Studebaker.
He's looking at a Matt's. I can tell what Matt's mind is at. He's looking at an M29 Weasel. Yep. Go ahead, Matt. Talk about it.
It was built by Studebaker for World War II.
Right, for the wall, yeah.
And it was built to kind of travel through the snow.
Really?
In installations in Norway.
Okay. 49, guys. That's what this one is.
I got distracted. I'm sorry, Billy.
1949 Land Cruiser, Studebaker.
Land Cruiser. Let's see what it looks like. See if it's a good-looking machine. It's already made it 1 year, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, Studebaker engineered some pretty good cars.
Yes, they did.
They really did. Well, they were, even in 1940, what year is this, 49 you said?
49.
Even in 49, the company had been around for quite a while, so they went back to horse and buggies.
All right, now.
Is that it, Matt?
In the same era.
That is it. It is a good-looking car, Billy. Exceptionally good-looking car.
In the same era now. You're not going to believe this one.
Yeah, look at the turn signal. Look at the marker lights on that thing.
They made L heads, right?
Yeah.
8.6s on this production run until the V8 came along in 1951. I didn't know they had in 51 a V8.
Wow, so they put a V8 in it?
But the electrical system remained 6-volt.
Wow.
But it was a V8. Most V8s come out around middle 50s. This 51, according to Studebaker, come out with a V8. I learned something today.
Huh. But Studebaker had their own V8s, right?
Yeah, their own V8, but it was a V8. But that was early in 51.
Yeah.
Other than, like Cadillac and Ford, they had the flatheads and that, but...
Well, the Studebaker 6 was a flathead.
That was L-head, yeah.
L-head, yeah.
Then they used the straight 6 had a long production run, until the V8 came along for 1951. Electrical system remained 6-volt.
Huh. Well, back then, yeah.
So, but I mean, I didn't think Studebaker. Most V8s come out, like 53, 4, 5, started up there.
With GM, yeah.
Yeah, but just 51.
Yeah, although Ford had V8s for...
Yeah, but they were flatheads.
Yeah, they came out in the 50s with the...
This is the V8 with overhead valves.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess GM was the one that came out with the overhead valves, and Ford followed suit, right? Because Ford still had V8s in the early 50s. Flatheads.
The flatheads lasted to 53, 54, and then they started up with the overheads.
Yeah, Ford kept their flatheads, which was a long run.
Mm-hmm.
That was like a 20-plus year run of flatheads for Ford.
Well, Christ, way back in the 30s.
Yeah, Ford was, so they've been running them for quite some time.
Right.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's interesting.
Interesting, huh?
Yeah. That car is a handsome-looking machine, though.
Nice-looking grill.
I'm looking at one here with big white walls on the side.
Yeah.
You'd kill somebody if they parked your car against the curb and they mocked them. I mean,
and the dashboards are pretty fancy with a mirror right on the dashboard.
Yeah, I didn't see that part, Matt. Did you?
I noticed that they have that.
Wow, heavy handle and everything.
They always have that iconic Studebaker grill.
Yeah, the Studebaker grill.
But not in this model.
Nope, not in this. That's what caught my eye. Not in this model.
Yeah.
Nope.
Did they stop doing that around like late 40s?
Yeah,
Well, then the picture come out with the ones that look like going frontwards and backwards, the bullet nose.
yeah, the bullet nose was more of early 50s they started.
Yeah, but here, late 40s is a nice looking machine.
And it's funny because the Studebakers were more aerodynamic or Art Deco to a degree, right?
Right.
But the Honda Hawks came out and they were squarish.
Yeah.
Remember the Hawks? The Hawks were, so their architecture, their designers was like, it had to be probably two different designers with two different thought processes, to get it approved, because these cars are, usually there's a committee of guys who design them, clay models, and they build a prototype and get it approved by management, and there's a long process to get these cars built, and
Well, that's what because I looked at Studebakers, they never turned me on because it looked like they're going forwards and backwards. But this particular 49 is a sharp.
It is a good-looking machine.
Studebakers I've seen.
You know what I like about it, though, Bill? I'm looking at a picture here Matt has up, and it has large turn signal lights, and they're in amber.
Yes.
They're in amber, which to me is attention to detail. I don't like cars that have like tail lights that are a turn signal light that blinks red.
Yep.
I like to see amber lenses.
Well, look what you got. You got them on top of the regular headlight, right?
This is what I'm looking at. They have the big turn signals just below the headlight.
Yeah, I got them right here.
Yep.
But then you got the two coming off the top of the fender right over the headlights. You see them?
Oh, yeah, the like marker lights. Like,
yeah,
I see them. Yeah. Right, they're like little lights. They're little, like marker lights, yeah.
But that's pretty
I can't even, those are lights, huh?
Yeah,
Matt,
they are lights.
Right above the headlight, Matt. That one there. See the light, the little, right there, yeah. Interesting. Yeah, Billy, I didn't notice that until you pointed it out.
Well, I'm telling you, yeah. This was a nice looking, best looking Studebaker I've seen in a long time. They never turned me on, but this one here, I like this one because it's really it looks like a nice 40s car.
I saw a 55, 56 Honda Hawk that I had sat in and drove one time, mint condition, and I was really impressed at the detail of the stitching of the seats, the interior, the craftsmanship. I was really impressed, and this is before all the foreign stuff hit the shores. I mean, we were doing these things.
Well,
we were doing these things.
They were independent makers. They had to come up with better stuff than the big three.
Oh, yeah, the big three, especially Ford and GM, they just took advantage of the situation.
I know, so these independents, they come up with some nice intervision, nice ideas and everything.
Yeah. AMC also is to be credited with great interiors.
Yep. Well, all the independents,
Yeah. Well, of course, they got, sliced and diced, so... And now even GM, it happened to GM, and they went broke, and we, the people, had to bail them out.
Yep.
Ford is the only true American company, in a sense, that's survived and is in, with the market forces.
Ralphie.
I'm sorry?
The Little Giant, okay?
Yeah.
Is what this is called.
All right.
1947 Chrysler, Crosley, quarter-ton pickup. Have you seen one in your life?
I think I've only seen pictures. That was a little truck. That was like
It's a Crosley.
But it was like you put it in a dryer and shrunk it, right?
It's very small.
Yeah,
it's
very
only
small.
Quarter ton. It's only a tiny quarter ton.
Matt's looking away. Matt, you'd like that. Matt's looking at the cab over. They built a cab over, a 47 cab over, Billy.
Well,
this one's a really cool looking little machine.
It's a high roof.
Yeah.
It's a very, very small bed.
Yeah.
With a little small engine.
Only trouble with Crosley is they were 65 years ahead of their time.
That's the problem.
Right now these cars are coming into vogue because it's being regulated now. The new mandates for the mileage per gallon is forcing radical changes in the marketplace.
What the hell? This thing can't use much gas. Look how light it is.
Yeah, back in that day,
Yeah,
there's no doubt.
I was reading an article by Pat Foster, and he was saying that all these cars past, that they come out with, smaller cars and all that, the problem was they were too far ahead of their time, and the public would not accept them.
Yeah, I believe that. They were more influenced by the big ads and Doris Day in the USA, and you see a USA in your Chevrolet, and more power, and
I read a nice article on him, and that's just what he said. Like Crosley and and the smaller AMC cars way back then, and all of them, and they're just ahead of their time, and the people just didn't like them.
Yeah.
They wanted the big, Chrysler, the big Caddies, and all that sort of vehicles.
Yeah. Well, it was and now it's truly a global market. Chrysler. Sergio, the chief executive officer of Fiat Chrysler, is considering to make an offer to buy GM. Can you believe that?
Is that right?
Well, that's what's being talked about now in the marketplace. That
Chrysler must have some money then now, because they were always broke.
Yeah. Well, they're tied with Fiat now. Chrysler has been making money, which has been saving right now Fiat's butt, because Europe is still in recession.
Yeah, right.
And teetering on recession. And actually, we are not far from it ourselves, in spite of all the optimistic things you hear in the news. Canada is in recession, so far,
And all those European countries, all them refugees coming in, going to really hurt their economy.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll take a few thousand of them here. We already have.
Well, we always take a few thousand here. We got 1,000 come across the board every day. What the hell's the difference?
Yeah. Well, yeah, from Mexico. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we've taken in tens of thousands from Afghanistan, Iraq. Of course, we've killed over 1 million people in Iraq.
Tell me about it. Every gas station, every 7-Eleven is owned by one of them.
Well, I don't know. A lot of those are Pakistanis and Bangladeshis and Indians.
And Indians. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, though. Yeah. You don't see many Americans.
Yeah. Well, the good news, though, is that if they're there, if they're the owners, they had to come up with capital to buy it or borrow it. So they're out there in the system, and
Yeah, but you don't see the more fashion signs no more. Jetty, Flying A, Mobile, and Shell, and City Service, and all of them are gone.
Yeah. Well,
I'm going to let somebody else talk for a while.
All right, Billy, good to hear your voice.
We run our mouth too much here.
Yeah. Are you driving?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, good, okay. Well, we'll get together maybe after Labor Day.
Coming up there soon, because I'm going to need an oil change. I can't do that myself.
All right.
So all right. I'll see you then.
All right, Billy.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yep,
bye-bye. Okay, you can ring us up here at 996-0500, 996-0500. Some statistics for today, September 5th, if you can believe that. We've got what? September 5th means just over 2 weeks. 2 weeks of summer left, right? Today's the 5th, 21. Am I doing my math right? Yeah, you just got about 2 weeks and 2 days of summertime. And then we go into our fall equinox. Before that happens, though, we'll have our... when is it? September... Oh, no, it'll be after. Oh, wow. So the last of the blood moons will be on September 28th, which will be fall. Okay? And that'll be on the Feast of the Tabernacles and the Jewish holidays. So there you have it. And hopefully the skies will be clear, because the last 3 preceding blood moons of this triad of 4, this being the last coming up, mark your calendar, hopefully we'll have clear skies and we can actually see it. So it might be an awesome sight. You might witness some, be a witness to history and the events that some people say surround this triad. So interesting times. Anyway, that takes place on September 28th, the blue moon or the blood moon. That'll be a big full red moon coming up, and I guess it'll be large as well, like the previous one we just had. That's coming up at the end of this month. But today, September 5th, sunrise was at 6:13 in the morning. The sun came up, which is, getting later and later. We lost 7 minutes from last Saturday. And the evening, this is really depressing in my mind anyway, and I'm going to share it with you so that I can get it off my chest, and it'll be on you. Sunset is going to be at 7:11. 7:11 this evening. The sun will be gone. So if you plan on going down to the beach and watch the sunset, you better get there early, because the sun goes down early. 7:11. We lost 11 minutes from last Saturday evening. Okay, 18 minutes of daylight is flowed south to the southern hemisphere, so the tide of light is rushing back to the southern hemisphere. Now, if you're down there in Chile and Argentina, obviously you're getting excited. You're coming in, you're seeing starting to see things green up a little bit, depending on what latitude you are down there. They're about to enter spring. Spring is less than 2 weeks away. The days are getting longer, and some of them, well, they don't all adopt the same schedule we do for daylight savings time, which always comes before the beginning of spring. But I'm sure they're looking. Nonetheless, the daylight is increasing, and the darkness is fleeting. Where's it going? It's coming to us. So we've lost 18 minutes from last Saturday. We've lost so far from the first day of summer 2 hours and 14 minutes of daylight is vanished. Well, it didn't vanish. Daylight went someplace else. Went south. We've got about 3 hours and, 45-ish minutes left of daylight before we hit bottom on December 21st. And I keep thinking about, I have a hummingbird feeder, and my hummingbirds have been coming in, and they're all fighting with each other, and I've had to fill it up quite a few times. And usually they're gone right about September 21st, right about the last day of summer. They just hightail it out of here. But with this warm weather we're enjoying, they may stay maybe a few days longer. I don't know. They have it figured out better than I can ever figure it out. They run a whole different schedule. They watch they're driven by the daylight and the skies at night. I mean, consider that the thousands of miles of journey they have to go through to get back into, head down to the Caribbean and South America and Mexico to winter. So they'll be gone for quite some time because they don't return until, May? Next May they'll be back. So it'll be a while before we see the hummingbirds and many other species that'll be heading out of here. September is a huge transitional month for a lot of the wildlife. Anyway, you can call us here, 996-0300, toll free anywhere on Earth, 877-996-1420. A few things happening out here in the world of automobiles. I scanned an article here earlier about Ford and VW open plants in Russia amid car market plunge. Well, it's amid a car market plunge, but these decisions to open plants are they're made several years earlier, because you're spending usually hundreds of millions of dollars, and you just don't put up a car plant in 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. It takes a long time to put up these plants, and to have them, put up the building and then get it all outfitted and wired, and get all the stamping equipment, all the trained people there to build a car or assemble a car, depending on your level of manufacturing that goes on in that plant. Some of these plants have knockdown kits that show up. Sometimes they send over chassis and fenders, and they just simply assemble them. See, plants, there's different types of automotive plants, the different degrees of building the car from the ground up, okay? Some just have components shipped in. Transmissions already built, either shipped into the country from the mother plant, like the Japanese are great for that. They might have the engines all come in on crates and transmissions, and just the frames are welded in the country of assembly, and the fenders may be stamped in the country of assembly. And they get sometimes they get special reductions in duties to bring these cars in, or their components in to assemble, because they're employing local help. So it all depends on the country you're in and trade laws. But Volkswagen AG and Ford Motor Company are sticking with long-planned investments in Russia engine factories, even as car sales there head towards a 6-year low. Well, Russia is in a recession. Their economy is driven pretty much by oil exports and gas exports, and that obviously has the commodities market has pretty much crashed. So they're feeling the effects of this and lost cash flow, lost revenue, as we are here in the oil patch. Volkswagen opened a 250 million euro, which is about $279 million, $280 million in American money, plant on Friday, yesterday, with the Russian Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev attending the inaugural ceremony. The factory near Kalaga, an industrial city southwest of Moscow, where Volkswagen already produces vehicles, will have a capacity to make 150,000 engines a year for the Russian-made VW brand cars and the Skoda cars. Volkswagen bought Skoda. If I recall correctly, Skoda was a when Czechoslovakia was Czechoslovakia, it was a Czech brand or Czechoslovakian car company originally based. It was an East European company car, and they bought them out. And actually, Skoda makes a nice car, which they not exported over here. I have driven in them. I never drove one. When I was in Budapest, Hungary. I went all around town in one of those with our driver. And I marvel. It reminded me of being in an American car in the 50s. They were dated, as was most East European products. They were kind of in a time warp in their design. But the car was assembled exceptionally well. The fit and finish I was impressed with. But it just reminded me of a car. It reminded me, frankly, of a Studebaker, if you want to think about it that way. But the Skoda is a kind of would be considered like a Chevy Bel Air to Volkswagen brand. It's a lower price vehicle to the Volkswagens. And they can sell them to people who just don't have the dough or don't want to spend the dough on a new car. And Skoda is a well-designed product, of course, now owned by VW. So these engines will be going into the Skodas as well as the VW, helping reduce prices. It says the Russian unit is said was to be producing engines quite soon. Of course, they'll only build what they need. The factory was the second to start operating in Russia this week, as the Wolfsburg German-based VW and the Dearborn-based Ford follow through on promises made in order to secure tax advantages and a foothold in the market. There you go with the tax advantages, because it gives these companies an incentive to invest in other markets. The U.S. company's Russian joint venture, Ford Stollers, Sollers, spent $275 million U.S. on a plant in Dagestan region that opened on September 3rd earlier this year. French competitor Renault SA started building engines in the Samara region also. Russia has required international automakers to build factories in exchange for being allowed to import parts at zero or low tax rates. So there you see it, how they operate. We got several calls here. Let me take these calls, Matt, here, and put these people on hold. And a very good afternoon to you, caller. Thank you for your patience.
Well, is it necessary to check your tires during the summertime?
Yes. You should check your tires on average about once a month.
Because my husband's always saying, I got to check your car and check your tires, and it's 28 pounds or something. I said, my goodness, it's summertime. Does it make it ride better? Or?
That's a good point. Usually, sometimes in the summertime, to use a word kind of oxymoron, you can skate on checking it as often in a sense because it's warmer and the air is more expanded in the tires. But now as September comes on and again, we have cooler nights, so sometimes you get in your car in the morning and you drive off and you see your tire pressure light on, and then a few hours later the light's out, because as the temperature warms up the air pressure increases and your tires are right on the borderline of where they're supposed to be. So in the evening, when it cools off, and the air molecules contract, and the air pressure sensor notices this and gives a reading that it has low air pressure. So
I guess he knows what he's just talking about.
Yeah. So now a lot of people will be experiencing their tire lights coming on as the evenings become chillier, and it's kind of like a notice that you should check your tires. You may be a couple of pounds on the low side, or one of them is. So
does 28 pounds sound right?
Well, it doesn't sound necessarily wrong. It sounds on the softer side of today's cars. What year is this machine?
It's a 2005.
Well, if you should set your tires to the manufacturer's specifications, and I would tend a 2000. What kind of machine?
Buick.
Buick. 28 sounds on the lighter side. It's probably a 30-32. If you look in your door jamb. The door jamb will have generally a decal in there telling you right on the driver's side where you should set your air pressure, and I would strongly recommend you set it to the manufacturer's specification. I mean, a pound more or a pound less. But I have some people come in, some guys in particular, and they say, well, the manufacturer said 32, but I want better gas mileage, so I put 36 or 38, and the car rides like a brick. But see, while you may theoretically improve your gas mileage, or maybe even factually increase your gas mileage by 1%, maybe 2%, but you bring other problems. You wear your suspension more because the tire's harder, so it transmits the shock to the suspension, to the McPherson struts, to your stabilizer links, to your ball joints. It takes more of the shock of the car instead of the tires sorbing it, and then you end up with more water leaks. You crack body sealing. You get all kinds of technical stuff that you have happen. So it's almost like taking prescription drugs. There's a reaction. There's a positive one. There's usually a negative one. So.
Well, I don't have much trouble with my car, so I guess it's all right.
Well, yeah. Well, but it's wise to check your air pressure, generally speaking, once a month if you're really on your maintenance. So certainly, at the least, every change of the season, at the very least.
Okay.
Now, we check them when people come in for oil changes. We usually set the people's air pressure as a courtesy service. Okay.
All right. Thank you. I enjoy your program. Even though I'm a woman.
What's that?
Even though I'm a woman, I know.
Well, that's okay. We have tons of women listeners. A lot of women listen. That's good. I appreciate that, and hopefully you pick up a little clue here and there, and keeps you on the game.
Okay. Bye bye.
Thank you. Yeah. Bye bye. Oh, that's good, people. If you can learn something here, that's okay. A very good afternoon to you, caller.
Hey, good afternoon. How are you today?
I am fantastic. Better than I deserve.
Beautiful, beautiful day. I have a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
What's the difference between the different levels of... I went to buy brake pads for my car, and then they offered me all different ones. I don't know the difference between them.
Well, usually it's the composition of the materials in the pad, and you try to match... you want to try to go with at least a pad that's equal to the OEM, original equipment manufacturer, of your vehicle. Now, some places you go, they'll have 3 different levels of pads. They'll have the real cheap stuff. But generally, sometimes the cheapest stuff will make your wheels go blacker, dustier. There'll be squeaks and more noises, that kind of thing. They wear quicker. The higher, so there's different grades you can pick. Generally speaking, in a phrase, you get what you pay for. So you would try, you can ask the guy selling you the parts for some advice.
Okay.
But you buy the low end. It just meets the minimum specifications. And sometimes you get more squeaks with them, or they're dustier, or they wear quicker. And the next level up, usually the mid-grade is where it's, they say they meet minimum, original equipment manufacturer, OEM specifications. And then the higher end is usually for more performance braking. But then again, sometimes you have to match your rotors to it, too.
Okay.
Okay, so your pads are important, but your rotors are extremely important, too, because they're the ones who are going to be...
exactly, yeah.
So you got to make sure you have decent rotors, and your rotors match your pads, and your pads match your rotors. And it can get a little pricey sometimes, depending on what you're driving.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of car you've got, but...
I have a Saab, 1999 Saab.
Well, on the Saabs, that's a fairly high specification on your Saab. Sometimes you don't have too much to... They give you, several choices?
Yeah, they offer different choice. I looked it up online, and I went to the auto parts guy. They give me different choice. I was just wondering what's the best choice. Sometimes,
I would say you're going to probably a set of pads for that car could run you $50-$60 in a heartbeat.
Okay.
In a heartbeat, I would say, maybe more. But on the Saabs, they're usually a higher specification. Okay, that's not a low-end car, and the braking system on it is. It's a good braking system. It's a more sophisticated braking system, and usually the basic component specifications are higher than certainly a Hyundai would have. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So the Saabs have a higher specification, more of a European spec. So you have to go with a mid-grade at the least, unless it's an old car. You're just driving it, a little around town. You want to cut a corner, it's not worth it anymore. Yeah, I don't know. Everybody has a different situation.
Okay.
So. But the rotors, don't forget the rotors. Pay attention to your rotors.
Yeah, I think there's 25 millimeter minimum thickness on them.
Yeah, it might be stamped right or engraved on the side of it. You can read it and just, you can turn them and get more time out of them, but usually they don't last as long.
Just buy new ones,
Yeah, so the new ones usually are from China, which, they're reasonably priced. But well, let us know if you have any technical problems. You doing this yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I've done it in the past. I was just curious. I just never asked that question.
Yeah. Well, the pads, they have different grades as far as how they handle the heat and wear, and noise, and dust, and different things like that. There's a lot of technology in them. That's for sure. The low end stuff usually comes from India, China, Most all pads today are, well, they make some American stuff, some European stuff. It's all over the world. It's hard to say there's one area. It's just global. But your Saab is a higher specification, I can tell you that.
All right.
It's not a low one.
I got one more quick question, because I know you know about these things.
God.
Where can a transistor radio get fixed? I have a friend who has a very sentimental, this has 1973 little pocket transistor radio.
Yeah, that's a good question. I have, I'm gonna have to be doing research because I have a older Grunding from the 80s, and was built in Europe. Actually, it was assembled in Portugal, designed in Germany with European components. So it's a nice radio. At the time, it was an expensive radio. It cost me like $400. And I want to get it repaired. It was one of the first computer radios, which all computerized today. Well, virtually all today are all computer, the better ones. And mine, for some reason, has not been booting up. So it turns on, but so I don't know if I have to do that research myself. So if I find something out, I'll let you know.
Okay, I'll be in touch.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, bye-bye. We got the news coming up. Stay with us. And we'll be back after a few minutes here, about 6 minutes or so. All About Cars will return with Ralph Medeiros. Look forward to talking to you.
I just want your love to share.
Welcome back, comrades, in FEMA Region 1, to all About Cars with Ralph Medeiros. Ralph's Auto Center is located at 867 Church Street in Norton, New Bedford. We've been there for, pretty near 30 years now, since 1987. So we're coming up close at that location. And we were on North Dartmouth on Route 6 with Colonial Chevrolet. Used to be Ralph Chevrolet, until my brothers decided to retire out of the business, and I'm the last one left in the business on a daily basis. My brother Philip does sell cars for Colonial. He enjoys that. Just finishes his job and goes home. He doesn't have to deal with all the headaches like he used to. Something to be said for that. And but he's the youngest of us, of the four of us. So, and my other brother Mark is in more on internet, radio, blogging and internet design, web design, all that new technology that's coming on. It's been coming on strong now for several years. So that's what he's into, and he does quite well at Slocum Studios out on Russell's Mills Road. And I'm on Church Street, and we've gone full circle. We started off in used car, pre-owned business with my dad in 1959, and that's what I'm back to now. And I don't think I'd want to be into the new car business and deal with all the headaches. And the factory's always on your case and all the regulations, and just it's quite a bit of work, and it requires a lot of employees to make it work. And it's unfortunate today. It's a difficult thing because getting help that cares and knows what they're doing is a very difficult challenge in today's work. And very few business people, business owners, are willing or candid about the realities of the marketplace for employment out there, when the people you hire and all the issues you have to deal with. It's off the charts in today's society. It really is. And you can look at that with all the drug addiction and all the people overdosing and dying with heroin and other abuses of opiates. Shows how troubled our society is. But back to us. To find us, easy. You can take 140, take exit 5, put you on Church Street. You drive past Regal House Furniture. I've been there for a long time. And after that is Wet Plumbing and Heating, and the new Dollar General, and Ralph's Auto Center, all located, all side by side of each other on Church Street. And we're directly opposite of New Bedford Vocational's faculty and service entrance, and kind of diagonal to Little People's College. And you can come up through Kings Highway as well, if you know that part. I come up to Honeydew and Paul Pelletier's store there is car lot and AC repair, and drive up and head north on Church Street, in which case we'll be on the left-hand side. Very easy to get to. And my brother David could be there today, but Andrew's in the showroom, and if you can go by and talk to him about cars. We sell a good line of quality cars. We do service them out thoroughly. We try to make sure these cars leave in good condition and everything's working well. And if something goes wrong, we take care of you. Under the warranty period, we do take care of our customers. But more importantly, before the car leaves, we try to make sure all the bases have been covered. So you leave with a car that's in good condition to reduce the odds of you coming back. Things do happen, things do break, and that's what we have a service department for, to take care of these problems. But to minimize it, we do give these cars a thorough checkout to reduce the chances of you having a problem and the inconvenience of having to come back, which puts a burden on us too to get you in the system. So we try to minimize that by doing it right the first time as best we can. And that's the difference between us and the majority of used car dealers out there who just try to make a car look good, get it out the door and over the curb, and then it's your problem. And we're in it for the long haul. I don't know how much of a long haul I got left, but I'm still at it. And we can help you find a car if we don't have what you want on the lot. We bring a lot of cars in for people. Whatever the price range you want, we can be there and make sure we get something that fits your budget, and also help you arrange financing. We tend to do business with some local credit unions in the area here that work with people who work with working people, and you get a better rate, and they don't take it to the cleaners like some of these other banks do. So and we do some with some commercial banks. Everybody has a different situation, so we have several financing facilities that have different structures depending on where a person's at in their credit history, and we try to find the one that's most advantageous to you, and it usually works out in your favor with lower payments and better terms. So that's the difference. When you go to a lot of places, as soon as you walk in, they don't care what your name is. They want your Social Security number, so they can run your credit check and see if you're even worth talking to. And that's the attitude of a lot of these places. They have a system, and the first thing you come in, they want to, sign this form here so they can check your credit. And depending on how your credit comes, they know how to structure their prices. That's the game. So if you don't want to play that game, and usually that game means you're going to be in the losing end because your payments will be higher because they'll structure it according to your credit rating. And and a lot of the buyers aren't sophisticated enough to figure this out, okay, especially the younger ones. And they're taken advantage of. So, it's true that you kind of earn your credit rating, and whatever you're rated at, you're going to be, your interest rate will be correspond to that number. But there's certain factors that can come into play to give you the best deal to lower these numbers for you. So, and unfortunately, a lot of these places, the fast places that, big fancy ads in newspapers, radio, and all these fancy sales they're always running perpetually. They're the ones you have to be most cautious about when you approach them. And read their reviews if you have access to a computer. And if you don't, you're kind of at a significant disadvantage if you can't read the reviews of these organizations, be it a car dealership or a restaurant, whatever. And you have to just become informed of the marketplace, because it's quickly moving, and there's good actors and bad actors in every trade and profession. Okay, there's good doctors and bad doctors, good lawyers and bad lawyers, good car dealers and bad car dealers. I mean, it's just the way the world turns, and it pays to be informed and do some homework. But we also do appraisals if your car was recently totaled. Insurance companies get much tougher now, especially with the stock market contracting. They're not making any money in the marketplace, so usually sometimes they make a good return with their investments in the marketplace, and it allows another revenue stream to come in if they're having a little bit of losses in their underwriting. But if the market is down and they're having accidents and they're having losses in their underwriting, then they're going to be much tougher in negotiating with in settlement with you on the value of your car. Okay, so we're running into that with a lot of people. But it pays to get advice, not after the fact, but before the fact, before you sign or accept a value on your car. You really, and if you're not knowledgeable of values, then call on us. We will help you in finding a value for your car and appraising it so that you don't go in empty-handed and you have some knowledge when you negotiate with them. Okay, because when you settle with them and whatever you get for whatever car you had, when you go into the marketplace and see the reality of the prices, you're going to be in for a shock. So if if you're trying to manage your resources, then you should talk to us. Matt, we had 2 callers there. I don't know what happened, if we lost connections or what. I didn't touch the board. Here we go. Callers that were on the line, I don't know what happened to you, but to see them both go at the same time is unusual. But ring us up here, 9960500. We can talk about whatever's on your mind. A very good afternoon to you, caller.
Hello, Ralph?
Yes.
I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
If you buy a car from a used car dealer,
yeah,
and he sells you the car as is, and it breaks down within 30 days, does a 30-day limit law come in effect, or do you have no recourse?
Well, there as is. What do you mean by as is? What year was this car?
It was a 03.
03. And how many miles?
125,000.
Okay. And did you get an inspection sticker on it?
But there was one on it already. It wasn't expired.
Wait a minute. That's illegal, my friend.
Yeah.
When you buy a used car, you have to get a new inspection sticker. You never had the car inspected?
No.
The dealer never told you you have to have the car re-inspected?
No, I just took it at that.
Oh, my God. See, that's what I mean. There's so many hackers out there. No. First of all, the dealer, when he takes the car in trade, by law, is supposed to scrape the sticker off the car that was just traded in so that you're forced to get a new sticker. He cannot sell. He's not supposed to sell that car with the previous owner's sticker on it. And you're not supposed to take delivery of that car without getting it you have 7 days to get it re-inspected. So you have some issues there. Was this a local guy?
Yep.
Yeah, well, see, there's a lot of guys in there that they're in the business.
So
and
there's no recall because I went back and he says, hey, I told you, you're buying this car as is.
There is no as is.
Whatever happens to it, that's your problem.
Well, what happened to it?
Doesn't fall back on us.
What happened to it?
It started skipping. And
skipping.
Took it back in, and I said, no.
How many miles? You said $125?
$125, yeah.
And is this, what is it, foreign, domestic? What is it?
Foreign. It's a Kia.
A Kia, okay.
It says, we can fix it, but we're going to have to charge you.
Yeah. How many miles have you put on it?
So I only had it less than 30 days.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how many miles I put on it, but so what you're saying is there's no recourse once they...
well, I'm not saying that per se. I'd have to see I can give you a schedule of the laws there, and you can pursue it. Now, did they give you a warranty statement? Did you give you a form with a warranty you signed?
No warranty, no.
No, but they have to give you a form that you signed that says warranty, no warranty. You didn't get any of that paperwork?
No, I got a paperwork that says that as is. On the bottom line says this car is sold as is, no recourse.
Well, they can't do that, man. The car cost you more than $700?
Yeah, it cost me over $1,000.
Well, it's still a cheap car then. So it was like $1,500, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Well, there is cars in Massachusetts. There is no as is, okay? Unless the car sells for under $700, then they can sell it to you as is, for parts or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you got a cheap car. Technically, you're in violation if you did not get it. In other words, when the police go by and they scan your plate, they can see you don't have a sticker. You can get a ticket for it. Okay? So you're in violation. I strongly suggest you get a sticker. And by law, you have 7 days to get a sticker when you buy it from the dealer to get the car to pass, to see if it passes inspection or not. That's the primary obligation the dealer has, the minimum obligation the dealer has, to see that your car is safe on the state highways. And you're not even in compliance of that law, or because you never got a sticker and you don't know if the car would pass or fail. So even though the car is relatively inexpensive, you've spent $1,500 for it.
Oh, it's a cheap car. Yeah, the car had a few dents in it, but other than that, it was.
Yeah. What's the skip? Any diagnostics on that?
I was so mad that I just drove off the lot and said, "Hey, how would you?" Sorry for the language, but
no.
That was.
Well, no, you're.
But I'm going to call him back as soon as I hang up here.
Well, I can get you some. I can get you just. I mean, I can just get you some idea what the law is. I can give you some documents on it. It's just public record. I'm not doing anything that's other than informing you your rights. Or you can look it up yourself. You got a computer?
Yes.
Yeah, it's online. Just look up Mass Lemon Law and read through it. It's on Mass
Lemon Law. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be on the government site there. Go to massgov.org and. I think you can drill down and you can find it there and just educate yourself to that and just see that you get treated square.
All right, my friend, that's what I'm going to do. Sorry to bother you.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm here for. But listen, get your car inspected. Okay, you got to get.
I will, yeah.
Because you're in violation. Something happens. They scan your plates and say, "What the hell is this? You don't have a sticker on your name." And they found out, and the dealer who sold it to you is in violation because the car should have been the sticker should have been removed.
Yeah, I never thought
at the least at the time of delivery, after he cleaned it. Well, he probably didn't clean it, but and then they told you, hey, you got to get a sticker. You got 7 days. There is no as is in Massachusetts. Okay.
No as is. Okay.
Unless it's a car that under $700. I'm trying to go from memory here, like $700 or less, and you can under $700 a car can be sold for parts only or as is. That kind of circumstance. I mean, because we got people coming in all the time, and we take in a lot of trades, and they want a cheap car, and I have a lot of people in.
All right, I'm gonna look it up on the computer, and I'll go from there. And thank you very much for your information.
You're entirely welcome. Bye. Well, folks, it's unfortunately a case of you really have to pay attention when you buy a car, even an inexpensive car, to know what your rights are. I mean, I'm not faulting the dealer per se, other than he's definitely misinforming his customer, and also he didn't follow the code when the car resold and he left the sticker on it. That should have been removed, and the car should have been inspected within 7 days, and to make sure the car was safe for the roads. Also, when you have over 125,000 miles, you can be exempt from a lot of the Mass Lemon Law rules as well. So it pays to know who you're doing business with. I think the dealer might have been short-sighted by not trying to help his customer, because I'll call him a previous customer, because he might not be a return customer, because at least didn't try to reach out to him and say, hey, I'll try to help you out and be fair with you, and work with you. Help subsidize the repair, even though it's a cheap car. Unless he sold him the car knowing that maybe the engine I'm not saying his car has it, but maybe the engine has an issue, compression issue, but something minor like a plug or a wire, then he could have been a hero and helped him out for a minimal cost. So everybody's different, and it comes down to caveat emptor, buyer beware, and who you're doing business with, and read their reviews, look them up. That's why we do have some cars that we sell for under 4, some around 3, but there are not many cars we'll put our name on below 4 unless they meet a criteria, because we just we know what it takes to put these cars in shape, and we don't want to sell these snots and have you unhappy, even though you bought a cheap car. And I understand that some people, $4,000 is a lot of money, but the reality is in the car business, $4,000 is not a lot of money. I'm paying on some engines. I'm paying $1,500 to $2,500 just for an engine or a transmission, not counting the labor to put it in. So, I mean, these are the realities of the marketplace. A very good afternoon to you, caller.
Chaplain Amadeo.
Hey, Ralphie.
Hey.
How are you,
That's
sir?
You're honorable, and you expose those that, like Lemon Law, this guy, you educated him and said, never do that again, please. But I hope he goes back to you and figure out what the skipping is. I mean, but imagine we had, in the old days, you call it 20-20. 20 feet?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You remember that old
yeah,
term?
I know that.
You got 20 minutes or 20 feet.
Yeah, 20
you want
seconds.
it now, dude.
Yeah.
Everything okay?
Yeah, how about yourself?
Pretty good, thank you. So I just want to say hi. I told you I always will be a loyal listener, and I just want to bless you that I gave you something worth selling. That's all.
Yeah, no, your car was
bad when it took a long time, but the point is, I'll always do business with you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Ralph. You're a good man.
You are just absolutely a delight as a visitor, and someone I did business with. You made me, hey, have you found me a wife yet?
What?
Matchmaker.
Oh, yeah, I got to find you a wife. Well, this gentleman on the phone I'm talking to, with Ralph, he's available for any gal out there. If you want to, hey, we can give you. Hey, what the heck? We match people and their cars together. So why not match people and people together? So if you're out there and you're looking for someone to have a social experience with, to talk, maybe go to dinner. This fella Ralph, talk to me. Call me at the office. I can be the yenta, and put. I'll be the yenta, Ralphie, and I'll put this deal together.
For sure. You too. See ya.
Yeah. See you later. Bye. Okay.
You need a used car dating site.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, used car dating site.
People with like cars can get together.
That's it.
Go for a joyride.
Maybe I could get some like high-end rentals, and you can go out and impress your significant other on your date. Good afternoon, caller.
Yeah, now your phone lines are lit up.
Yeah.
Does he come with a warranty in case I know some young woman for him?
No, he's expressly as shown.
You can't do that in the state of Massachusetts.
Yeah, well, I know. I don't want to be. Yeah. Yeah.
I thought that was a little risque for you, but I said okay.
You know, it reminds me of a case. I just thought when you called me, I thought of I could write a book. When you said it comes with a warranty, I once had a salesperson. And salespeople, if you ever dealt with them, you know how it can be from one extreme to the other. Well, I had this fellow who could sell cars, and I mean he had a downside. This fellow, I'll call him Bill. That was his first name. I won't say his last name.
Yeah.
He wasn't from around here, but I mean I fired this guy probably 4 times, no exaggeration, and I hired him back. And in my office, Irene Souza, God rest her soul, would say, "You brought him back. Why in God's earth would you bring him back?" Because he's had this issue, that issue. I said, well, one thing I respect in this man, he can sell cars. And I always look at a person, their upside versus their downside. And his upside, when the downside got deeper than the upside, then you had to let him go. But I never forgot. He was waiting for me on his 3rd reemployment, and we were busy in a show, and he knocks on my door, and I was talking to someone else, factory rep, whatever, and he says, "Boss," and I wasn't his boss, he was reapplying. He says, "Can you sign this order?" While I was waiting for you, I sold a car. I mean, this is the kind of guy he was. While he was waiting in the show,
he was a good salesman.
He was a good salesman, but he had a downside. Anyway, he sold a car to this quite good-looking, buxom young lady, and she came to see me one time. She said, "Mr. Medeiros, can I speak to you?" And I said, "Sure." She says, I had a problem with a car I just bought from you. I said, "Well, really, what happened?" She said, "Well, I didn't get the deal I thought I was going to get." I said, "Oh, okay. Well, explain to me what happened." "Well, your salesman, Bill, promised me a certain price, and I never got that price." And I said, "Well, okay, but I'm confused. Why did you buy the car if you didn't get the price?" He said, "Well, he assured me everything would be taken care of." I said, "Well, ma'am, if you signed the contract and the manager approved the deal, that's the deal you got, and that's the way it is. I mean, the paperwork is that way. You shouldn't have picked up the paperwork." He said, "Well, your salesman promised me because he showed up at my house at 10:30 at night with some pizzas." So I said, "Okay." And he says, "Well, I let him in, and one thing led to another. And he had told me I would get a special price and all that." I said, "Well, you did get a good deal." I looked it up. She says, "Well, I feel that you're kind of responsible for that." I said, "Excuse me. You and Bill, you let him in your house. That was a personal decision. What you did with Bill and what Bill did with you is your business, not my business. And at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, Bill's on his time, not my time, and it's a personal relationship." But I guess he had promised her certain things
Sure.
in exchange for certain things.
Sure.
And I never forgot that. And I said, "This guy, Bill," I said, "Bill, what the hell's wrong with you?" And, he says, "Well, boss, I didn't think she'd complain." I said, "Well," I said, "No, she's trying to shake me upside down for money when that's between you and her. I mean, this is the world we're in today."
That's a tough spot to be in.
It's nuts. So I said, "Ma'am, you and Bill, I almost said his last name, that's a personal relationship, has absolutely nothing to do with me. I was not there, so I'm not a party to this."
I mean, this is the kind of society we're in.
I guess when it comes to the old saying, you've seen it all.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I'm still seeing.
Seen enough?
I've seen enough because there's always more coming, more bizarre.
I like your way though. You balance the two sides because that's so you got to put your emotion away when you're upset on the downside. You got to think of the good side.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
well,
hard
you know,
as an employee. I have a hard time doing that. So, but that's a good pointer.
Yeah, no, you have
I got off the couch there and I looked at that stuff there.
Okay, good.
So yeah, I get some.
Did you? Yeah, I gave you those websites to go to.
Yeah, I looked at the King thing.
Yeah, King's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, that's a good site.
Yeah, it's scary.
Huh?
Scary.
Well, just get informed of what's happening around us, because what you're hearing in the mainstream news is generally not what it's the Cinderella. You know.
Yeah, it is. It doesn't.
Yeah, so you have to inform yourself as an American so you understand what's going on. Just be aware you're in FEMA Region 1. So if you get displaced from this region and you've been certified for release, they'll bring you back here.
Well, thank you for your time, Ralph. Yeah. I appreciate it. I'm going to keep looking at it. The biggest thing is I got to get off the habit of clicking the clicker.
Yeah.
And go to the other clicker on the computer.
Right. That's right. That's
but
exactly.
I have a laptop. I like to lay down early. I mean.
Yeah. Well, I can show you ways to increase your efficiency with your computer, so that you don't have to be at your computer. You can stream whatever on your computer and just send it to every radio in your house, so you could be taking a shower and educating yourself. Okay. I just sold Peter one of these little devices, and a cheap $50, and you hook it up to your computer, and it transmits it to every radio in your house. So it allows you to be. You don't have to be attached in that same room. You can be taking a shower, out cutting the grass in the cellar. Don't matter. You can just go about your life and educate yourself while you're making your lunch or dinner or whatever. Whatever your lifestyle is. So these are devices that are worth for people who and you have the technical skills to use it. It's not rocket science. So
but
yeah.
I'm kind of a caveman with that stuff.
No, this is so straightforward. Believe me, you'd have no problem.
We're doing a job not too far from your shop there, but I drove by with the backhoe beeping the horn.
Oh.
You got a lot of cars in here now, Ralph.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, got a lot of cars. Well, they're not all mine, though. Larry, they're not all mine.
Oh. Did you go look at that spot I told you about?
No, I couldn't get out there that night, Friday night, Saturday night. Last week ago, Saturday.
I thought you would have sent one of them scouts you got out there.
Yeah. Well, my son.
One of your drivers.
Yeah, well, my guys on a weekend, Saturdays, is, especially the last days of summer, it's tough.
Yeah, I know it.
Tough.
All right, enjoy your holiday weekend, Ralph.
Stop by. I'll show you some information.
Yeah, I will.
All right.
All right, thank you. Appreciate
Larry.
it, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, there's, for those of you who into computers, there's different sites you can go to, news sites, whatever. I mean, just and most of it's all free access. You can subscribe to certain sites, newsletters, if you wish, if you find that person interesting. Generally, they're relatively inexpensive, depending on the type of news source you're going for. But if you're listening to just the mainstream news, forget about it. You're woefully misinformed. Of course, you'll know. The Pope went out and got a haircut. Got a set of new eyeglasses. And then the Patriots, Brady, and all that going on. You'll know about things like that, but you don't really see the fires burning in Rome. And try to prepare for your future. So ring me up here, 9960500, 9960500. Nissan recalls 300,000 cars for acceleration concerns. Okay, so Nissan said Friday, that's yesterday, it will recall nearly 300,000 cars in these United States under government pressure because of unintended acceleration risks linked to a trim panel as safety officials upgrade a new separate investigation into almost 1 million Nissan vehicles. The Japanese automaker has resisted recalling 299,000 2012 through 15 Versa and Versa Note cars, even as the National Highway and Traffic and Safety Administration, NHTSA, opened an investigation in August of 14. So it's been going on now for over a year. The safety agency upgraded the probe to an engineering analysis in June.
Nissan said the right edge of the driver's shoe may catch the edge of the center console lower trim panel. Nissan initially told Nissan, this is, you gotta watch these words, Nissan initially told NHTSA it didn't think it was a safety issue, saying there were no U.S. warranty claims and the U.S. consumer complaint rate was 0.0031% of vehicles produced. So that's not even a third, that's a hundredth of not even a third of a percentage, okay? So several automakers in recent months have issued recalls after U.S. safety regulators demanded them, a sign of the agency's tougher stance. Separately, NHTSA said Friday it was upgrading an investigation into 986,000 Nissan 2013 through 14 vehicles because the vehicles may misclassify adult front passenger occupants and turn off or deactivate the passenger's frontal airbag. The probe stems from nearly 1,300 complaints over how a 2014 Nissan recall was carried out. So if you have one of those vehicles, you might want to look into it or go to the web and do some more research to protect yourself. Hi, very good afternoon to you, caller.
Hi, Ralph. I came across some interesting facts the other day. You're probably familiar with these, but I'll throw them at you anyways. Talking about the percentage of new car loans that are being made that are subprime, and it was a very high number. It was something like, 60% of the new car loans were subprime, which the people that don't know what that means that people don't have the highest credit score in the world. And they were saying that the average loan amount on a new vehicle is something like, now this is the average, $28,000.
Yep.
The average loan pay, the length of time, the average length of time was 57 months, which to my closest, 67 months, which that's like 5.5 years.
Yeah.
The average interest rate is 16%, and the average loan is something like $400-something a month.
Yep.
And I was like, this is insane. Who is, I mean, how long does it take before people realize, like you say, they wake up from the amnesia and then they say, gee, I got a nice car here, but I'm paying a hell of a lot of money on this. And
good observation. Excellent observation.
And those people are also the people that probably at the most risk of losing a job because, if you don't have the greatest credit score, it means, either you're not paying your bills on time or you owe a lot or something like that. And,
no, you're right. It's excellent observation. It's being watched in the financial markets. The people who write those loans, most of those loans, a lot of those loans, they go through subprime banks and organizations. A lot of it's captured financing. In other words, it will go through Chrysler Financial, Nissan Financial, Toyota Financial, and they buy these deals and hope they stay offshore. They don't come on the rocks, so to speak, come ashore and land on the rocks, and they can keep their numbers up and sell more cars. So in a sense, you're right. They're subsidizing these subprime deals to keep them, to take them on, take the risk. In other words,
they were also saying, like the extraordinary measures that they would go to show that it's not a non-performing loan. Like people can call up like 2 or 3 times within that time period and say, gee, I don't have the money, right now. And they'll say, oh, well, why don't we just tack it on to the end of your loan? And I mean, those are pretty extraordinary measures to make sure that,
But it goes to show, what you're bringing up is a good point, you're kind of a good barometer. It goes to show the shallowness of this recovery and that most folks don't have money, and also that, and unfortunately, a lot of the people driving new or newer cars are the very people who shouldn't be doing that. They should be far more pragmatic, but they don't. They want their egos blind them, and they take on these humongous payments of north of $400, like you said, a month, and then the excise tax and the insurances, and it's perplexing, isn't it, that the very people who shouldn't buy these cars and they make a poor judgment. And I'm selling, and a lot of our customers, believe it or not, because we sell the value end between 4 and 15, and they tend to be very prudent, practical people, and keep. They want payments of around 150 to 250, and or have no payments because they write a check for the whole car, and they own it, and they're not buried in 6. And those payments, you said, most of those financing is 6 and 7 year notes originally.
Yeah.
So and they bury themselves, and it's ironic when you see this, and I scratch my head. It's just the way it is. I mean, that's human nature, and so it starts again, the cycle, and they're in bondage. Okay.
There's another interesting side note to that, and that the geniuses on Wall Street who securitized the subprime loans on houses are doing the same thing with these. They're bundling up these subprime auto loans and selling them to who knows who, and saying, "Gee, look at this great return you get." Well, you're getting that great return as opposed to 2% or whatever on your money. You're getting this great return because all the risk you're taking. People don't realize the risk they're taking, and it's all risk reward. But
they want that new car smell.
Yeah. Well, you go. I'm all over the city for my work, and I see people living in so-so neighborhoods. And they're driving BMWs. I'm not saying they're brand new, but they're very nice-looking cars. And I'm thinking, wow, they live in this neighborhood and they're driving that car? How the hell can they afford that? Well,
it's their mindset.
I guess that's how they do it, you know?
It's their mindset. And, in all fairness, I had one time a doctor who lived in South Dartmouth out on, out near Mission Point, Colonel Greens and that area. I won't be overly specific. Salters Point over there, and we couldn't get him financed. His income was north of $2.5K a year, but he was tapped out. He was living large down there in that part of the world in a fancy place, and he couldn't get a car loan. We could not get him financed. I mean, at the time, this was a few years ago, back right after the meltdown of '08, our second depression began. And we could, and he was a high income person, but it makes no difference. If you're making $30,000 and you're living like you're making 60, or you're making $250 and you're living like you get 500, you're in the same boat. So this is the realities of the country in America.
Your customers have the right idea, and that's the same thing I did. The last car I got was used. Yep. And I could probably afford a new car, but I got a used car, and I got it at $200 a month, and now it's paid off. And I mean, it's not the fanciest looking car around, but I just keep saying, I'm not paying the bank every month.
Well, it's paying you back now.
Yeah,
it's paying you back.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's more people are getting more disconnected from the system, I think. But the advertising, the lure is strong, and the credit, and people get. They get entrapped by this, and it's the very people who can least afford it. 16%
interest. If those people woke up and looked and saw, I mean, I get things in the mail all the time. You buy a brand new car and it's 2% or less if you have an account with their bank. Sometimes 3%. If you get into up to about a 3 or 4 year old car, it's only like 3 or 4%. So to go from like 4% to like 16%, boy,
it's nuts.
People shouldn't just look at their credit cards and say, well, gee, 16%, that isn't bad or whatever. You should look at what other people are paying on car loans, 16%, and that's the average. That's a real gouging.
Yeah. Well, they've earned that rate, though, because they're high risks. So that's the deal there. I mean, they're not entitled to a 4%, 5%, because these folks have had a history of not paying their bills on time at the very least. Yeah. So they've got the rate they've earned. There are people out there willing to loan the money because the rewards are high if they manage that risk properly, especially when your money's only getting a 0.25, 0.50 in the bank. Follow me? So those risks, the risk reward is quite high.
But I just couldn't believe the percentage of people getting these loans.
It's in the hundreds of billions of dollars right now, the portfolio. And same with student loans, same deal.
Oh, yeah.
So it's but that's the reality in America. So but all right, my friend. Thank you for the call.
Have a nice day.
Yep.
Have a nice weekend.
You too. Be
right.
safe.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Very good afternoon to you, caller.
Hi, Ralph. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Okay.
How are you?
The last caller triggered me to call.
Okay.
I'm, for one, a person who has believed that we have been living beyond our means for a long time. And one of these days, it's going to come home to roost big time.
Well, I think it has been coming home.
No, I think this is just a plateau on the way down.
Well, I think we have been coming down for quite a few years now.
Yes, I agree.
Unwinding.
But when it looks good, we're just on a plateau on the way down.
Well, all the news we hear about our economic recovery, we're, I guess you could say we're the cleanest shirt in a dirty linen box right now, as far as the other nations are concerned. But we have a lot to work out in this country right now, yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's funny that I see so many expensive cars on the road, Beamers, Mercedes, and I don't mean old junk. I mean relatively new.
Yep.
And I'm wondering where on earth are the people getting the money for these things?
Well, they borrow it. Most people are borrowing, and at all backgrounds and income levels, because your ego drives this more than anything else. You know what I mean?
And the idea of leasing, I assume there must be justifications for leasing in certain unique circumstances, but it turns around to paying for a car you really can't afford in the first place.
Exactly right, my friend. Leasing allows you to drive a car you normally could not afford to buy.
Yeah, I just bought a new car that I wasn't planning to buy, but a little accident took care of the other car.
Oh.
It happens, and fortunately the car was well built enough that I wasn't torn in two.
Oh.
But it's new Toyota.
Okay.
0% financing.
Yeah, yeah.
So I used their money rather than mine.
Was it zero or a rebate or both, or how did that?
I forgot which it was.
Yeah.
But I went with the zero.
Yeah. Well, don't pay it off sooner, then, right?
Oh no, I have no intention of it. You know,
'cause I've had people finance a car at 1% or 2%, and they say, "Well, I'll pay it off." You know, they'll give them there was when I was new car, they would have financing like 1% or 2% for 4 years, and people would say, "Well, I'll probably pay it off in 2.5 years." I go, "What the hell's wrong with you? You're giving back your subsidy. You might as well take it to the end."
Right, exactly.
Right.
But you know, on the last Toyota, which I bought 12 years ago, same thing, 0%.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is, this is the kind of thing that's been keeping the economy going.
Yes, it has. But the credit is starting to open up for the very people who probably shouldn't have it, in a sense, I guess, could be said.
And the caller was right. The same games that were played in the past are still being played, maybe in a new show, but because nobody's being held accountable.
Well, they are held accountable ultimately if someone in a microeconomic example, if I have taken your car loan and you're subprime and you don't pay it, then I have to repossess it and I take the loss. So I guess they do take the loss. You know, the markets are correcting. But the country...
No, I mean like some people in Wall Street doing a perp walk with the handcuffs on.
Oh.
We didn't see much of that except for Bernie Madoff. So there's no incentive for them to learn their lesson and stop the nonsense.
Yeah.
But I'll just close with this idea.
Uh-huh.
You know, I have credit cards like most people do. I haven't paid interest in over 20 years because I refuse to decrease my buying power. So therefore, when I get a statement, I just check it to see if it's right, and I pay the bill.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one day, for the heck of it, I sat down and read it. For example, if you're late on one payment, they reserve the right to jack your rate to 29%.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, you know what? Dillinger was honest. He did it with a gun.
Yeah.
And I'll leave it there.
All right. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye. Very good afternoon to you, caller. Hi. Are you there? Hello. Oh, they're not there. Okay. Well, we got a few minutes left. You know, I've been looking at... I like looking out at, like, future. Try to see trends. Pick up trends. You know, look at future trends. Okay? It's kind of like a hobby of mine. And try to study different social behaviors and financial markets as a hobby. I have no money invested in the stock market. I'd be a little concerned right about now. But I just see our society, and I say to myself, what the hell is going on in our society? And I would, figuring all the mental illness out there, and just people's behavior, and just the lack of American ideals and education, just all the basics of our society, all the things that I experienced growing up. And not that it was perfect. We had our issues. There's always issues in life. Doesn't matter what time you want to pick throughout the millennia. But our society does seem to be far more frayed than it has been in the past, and fragile. But I just see an article. Finally, I've been doing research on this, and I can't get into it because of the lack of time, but talking about antibiotics could be blamed for the skyrocketing mental illness rates. Okay, MSM finally admits antibiotics are causing mental illness, something we are told by our readers years ago. This site that I'm on, I research on health issues, and about GMO also changing the DNA of children, and these things that big farmer, big agriculture, who rake in a lot of dough, and are making dough, and they really don't want to sometimes correct these issues or admit to these issues could be a potential problem. So I'm doing more research on. Maybe we'll talk about it in the future. Won't be today, that's for sure. But you just have to look out of you got to get outside the box sometimes, and look around out of the bubble, because so many people are in the bubble and they don't know what the hell's going on outside the bubble. They don't even know there's something outside the bubble. And but our economy, in many ways, is a mirage. It's built on debt, not on sound economic growth for the most part. And debt is financed, the last real estate boom, and it crashed down in '08. And it's most people have maintained their standard of living through debt, which is a short-term relief, because eventually you have to pay the debt back, and now you're poorer than before you started getting into debt. Okay? And the country is not creating wealth, it's consuming wealth. It's living above its means, and a lot of that can be seen in the deficits we run. Now we have the privilege of the privileged position of having a reserve currency, which allows us to live beyond our means, but that could be coming to an end. And when that comes, you don't know. The changes that will take place in this country will be radical. Okay, so radical, I think it'll put people in the streets in protest, and maybe that's why they're tightening up all these homeland security rules and laws and everything else to keep the people at bay when their standard of living is reduced by 25 to 35% in a matter of months or maybe a couple of years, and you will see a radical change in our society. Then reality will set in, and it won't be much different than being in Guatemala, or Honduras, and these other countries. And you can see it's in a slow cycle now because the way prices are going up. And I see it with some of my customers. Some of the elderly who've been retired for a while have had rather humble Social Security and benefits, and they retired maybe 15 years ago.